Today I'm finally going to confuse YouTube's algorithms regarding what my channel is all about. There are many flight simulators that have gliders available, and most of them are prettier than this. But based on the comments I have received and I have read, the Condor 3 is hands down the most realistic out of anything available. And why I'm doing this, well, let me first get up in the air. So far I have played with this game for about an hour and have done some training regarding takeoffs and landings. So today I'm going to do a winch takeoff in Argus glider, do a couple of rounds around the airport because, well, I haven't really practiced thermaling, and then try to do a landing. And naturally I don't have any real world experience with gliders either. Okay, and a couple of words about my setup here. So one of the nice things with Condor 3 is that it outputs all this data pretty easily. So I'm using a software called Panel Builder 3 Condor version, and I can just display all my instruments here on my screen, and I don't have to have a kind of the double cockpit, which is always a nice thing. Also, I can display these instruments to you, though this time I had some resolution issues with OBS. And time for takeoff. Okay, and most likely not the best takeoff. I gained too much altitude in the beginning, and at this phase I could have gone up a bit steeper, I think. Okay, I got up to 300 meters. I think I could have done this better. But at least I was flying. I had a bit over 300 meters of altitude here, and there was interesting looking cloud right in front of me. So I figured that to go and look if I could get some more altitude from it. One challenge here is that this marker isn't the optimal speed for this aircraft, but the variometer started to sound much better, and to my surprise I was actually able to utilize this thermal and gain some altitude, actually I guess a couple hundreds of meters. And as you can see, I'm having some challenges with the speed, so it keeps dropping far too low, and when I try to correct it, I'll just overcorrect it and it keeps rising a bit too fast. And now that I decided to exit this thermal, I think I could have utilized it a bit longer, but on the other hand, my goal is not to make long flight, but just to make a quick video of me taking off and hopefully landing this thing, but that remains to be seen. So I start heading towards the couple of clouds that I see right ahead of me. For now I have actually bound looking left and right to my joystick This might work with the Tobii eye tracker, but for you watchers, I think this is much more relaxing view and not as restless as if it would be tracking my head all the time. And as usually, we have the same issues as I have with the flight simulator, the fisheye effect. This also would work better with 3 displays, but with 1 display there's no settings, I can just turn the FOV to maximum, but then the effect is here. But still, it is quite nice. It's nice and relaxing experience to be flying here. And I promised to explain that why I was trying a gliding simulator. Well, after watching more and more YouTube videos about gliding, it really started to look like it would be really fun. So there's a gliding club in something like 20 kilometers from my house. So at the moment I'm considering to get my glider pilot license there, not this summer, but perhaps next. My current plan is to do the discovery flight this summer, perhaps some simulator practice during winter, and start the course next summer. Also, if you would be interested in video series titled Flight Sim Cross Gliding, let me know. It would be interesting to see how much of this simulator training translates into real life. I would expect something, but naturally, since I don't know anything and the feeling everything is completely different, really need to keep really humble approach here and expect nothing. And as I got close to the clouds, my altitude had already dropped something like 300 meters, and I guess this is one of the challenges with simulators, is that you can pick these bad habits and do dangerous stuff. So instead of actually trying to find a place to land, I decided to just start heading back and hope I could catch some thermals on my way back so I could land safely to the airstrip and perhaps even do a proper pattern. But at the same time, just wanted to finish this video, so I decided to continue. So here I'm heading back to the place where I found the first thermal, and I'm just hoping I could gain enough altitude so I could get back to the airstrip and just do a proper pattern there before landing. So here I'm back around this cloud, and there is the sandpit or something like that that looks like it might be a good place for thermals, but no luck for me in this place either. Or perhaps I should just say no skills, because I really actually haven't even done the thermal in training in this Condor 3, so perhaps I should first do that one and then start complaining. Already below 200 meters, and as far as I understand, I should be at this altitude when I'm at the beginning of the runway during the downwind leg, so not looking too good. All I can do here now is just head towards the airstrip and try to land this thing in one piece without a proper pattern this time. And not really getting any lift from this thing either here. As you can see, the airstrip is right in front of me, but my altitude is already far too low. So now I'm just trying to reach the airstrip in time. And just applying the flaps here. I have flaps configured to the right side of my throttle and the left one is air brake. Some challenges with stabilizing the approach even with zero wind, but with this thing I cannot just decide to try again. And my speed is far too low all the time here. When I reach the landing strip, I actually noticed that I'm going to overshoot it, and I could have actually pushed the nose a bit down and get a bit better speed. But that's something I'm clearly having difficulties with, kind of having all the preferences, everything with my setup, and I think VR classes would be far more optimal for this kind of training, but this is what I have, so this will have to do. So I end up pushing the nose a bit down, which I shouldn't be doing, and gaining a bit too much speed. So perhaps air brakes might have helped at this point. Not a pretty landing, but at least the plane was in one piece. And as usually, thanks for watching, and if you find this interesting, leave a comment, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.